I wanted to guide you through the deployment of the endpoints, the booking of how a meeting can be booked, the join experience, some in-meeting hints and experience, and the portal. First of all, I want to quickly show you how to deploy an endpoint. I wanted to do this together with you, so I have a DX endpoint on the other side of the table, and I must apologize. My Windows is running as a virtual machine in my on my Mac here, so therefore the experience is not as smooth and as fast as it could be. What I wanted to show you, I have a demo WebEx org showing here, so you should be able to see it. If not, please let me know. I'm sharing this. So there is two options. Either you are a WebEx user yourself already and you would like to assign a personal device to you, then you can go to settings.webex.com, my devices, and say generate an activation code. So that's one option. Or if you're an administrator, you can go to the same user, select the user here, and press the any add new device button, and then you can see the device activation code being displayed to you. Excellent. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, let me walk over to the DX API. I'll wake it up. So that's how it looks like when you boot it up. So we have the welcome screen. This is after factory reset, and I plugged in the cable. So you say start. You have the network settings showing here. You can choose between Cisco WebEx connection or the on-prem services. You choose the WebEx connection, then it asks you to enter a 16-digit code. I wrote it down because I can't memorize numbers which are that long, and I'll quickly enter it. Here, so thanks very much, Reto. Your question gave me the time to write down. But now I have to also quickly enter it. 41 59 25 6. I would went without a typo. So now it's activating this device, and in the meantime, we can, yeah, you can see the screen over there. And there we go, connecting to WebEx. And I don't think it will need me here any longer. I'll take the risk. And in the meantime, I move over to, oh, there we go. There's a few additional, oh no, Cisco IT. It's bothering me. In the presentation, that's not good. So there is the time zone which can be set. 10 past 4, that was right. And then setup is done. And we have the user showing up here my name, which has been configured. I have the call button. I can call the whiteboard, and I can join a WebEx meeting with a WebEx button. I also have the self view here if I would like to see myself, or if you would like to see my office even more. Okay. So next thing I wanted to show is the booking experience. So you should be familiar with the WebEx Meetings app on the top right corner. So this is the meeting setting. This is the URI I can use to as my private room, personal room, and I have the next meetings coming up here. It is set up to integrate into my Outlook calendar, so it gets the meetings from there or from the WebEx cloud. So what I can do now with this Outlook integration is I can set up a meeting. There we go. Trying to do this, and just to mention again, it's a little bit slower than usual because it is in a virtual machine on my little MacBook. So test meeting. I set up a meeting starting at let's say 4:15, going on for half an hour. And then I have up here the WebEx integration button, so I can say I would like to add my personal room. That's one option. I'll quickly do that. And then you can see that the WebEx productivity tool is adding the meeting details into Outlook. And maybe it's important, why am I showing this? This is like the simplest solution. So this is like a endpoint or client side integration, meaning you don't have to do any integration in on Exchange or Office 365. This is showing like only the client side integration. So I'll add a person. Let's say I'll add myself, my private email address here, for example. There we go. Send the invite. And I don't have a location set. Okay, so that's one option to easily set up a meeting and invite people, and meetings are sent out. The other option is, which I did not show here, was the location field. I don't know if you're using this, but if you have a server-side integration, you can book the WebEx meeting by simply entering @WebEx. So I believe that's what I do when I invite you later, for example, for a WebEx meeting. Another test. And as a location, I simply enter @WebEx, whereas looking at WebEx, then I'll invite people, the invite shortly, with the WebEx details attached, just without in a personal room, but without me using the integration. In the meantime, this meeting should have shown up here as well. Let me see what I do next. That was the booking experience. Okay. And what I wanted to show as well was that we have at the bottom here, we have the option to connect to a device. So when I say connect to a device, then it offers me a room video endpoint, which is near me. That's one option. So now again, you should see the endpoint, and you can also see my screen. So both things at the same time. It's working well. All right. So regarding the video endpoint, you see now on the right-hand side, you can see the meeting just popped up on its own without me doing anything. So we have the option to simply join the meeting straight from here. If there is no scheduled meeting and I would like to join my personal room just like this, then I can press the WebEx button, and there's also like start my meeting at the bottom. Okay. So I can quickly join the meeting from here, and you'll see that it will dial in and it says waiting for others to join. Okay, that's one option. Let me hang up. Let's say I would like to make life as easy as possible for myself, and I would like to also have the controls of the meeting on my laptop as I have it today. Then I can also do the following, showing you from my screen again. I start the meeting, which now showed up here. I say like start meeting, and then the WebEx window opens after some time, of course, because of my slow virtual machine. And I can, I'm not connecting audio, I leave this, otherwise we'll have like some bad experience. I can say use video system. And I tested it yesterday, I hope it's going to work. So I added 2 shortcuts to my video endpoint, to my WebEx account. One is my sandbox endpoint, and one is my Cisco video URI. I select this one, I can say start meeting, and what it does is it starts the meeting, says waiting for others to join, and at the same time it should actually call my video endpoint. There we go. So I'm appearing as a single participant in this meeting with my video endpoint, where I can see the same information as on my laptop. I can now share from my desktop, so I have still the convenience of my desktop being used as a sharing device, and at the same time I have the video quality of my video endpoint. So if I know that I want to share something, or if I just don't want to touch the video endpoint at all, except in the call, I can do it in this way. So let's go back. So you can still see my video endpoint on half of the screen. I can also say what I do sometimes. I want to duplicate the screen in my window, meaning that I want to have all the participants showing in my screen here. And I can as well say share content. Then I share my screen here, and it will turn. I'll see the little sharing window on my screen, and you'll see the same content is showing on the desktop, and the video is on top. Okay, so now a few in meeting experiences. So what I did here as well to see everybody, I said, let's see if the camera is catching me again. Yeah. So I can say like minimize. So it is minimizing my content. It is showing the video as name. On the main screen, I have on the top right, I have a few layout options. I have the overlay option, the equal option, which means like the presentation and the video is shown equal, or if you have multiple participants, they are shown equal on the screen as well. So let me quickly select this one. So you have the possibility then to see the two above each other, and you can also see here who is in the session. So you can basically also, with this cloud register video endpoint, you don't really need the application anymore. You have all the information showing on the video endpoint itself. Okay. And this one. You've seen the setup is really easy to be done. I would have the option also to add like speed dials to the screen there. If I want to, you can see still on the screen that there is a participant already in the call, so that's also something nice to see. Yes, okay. So this much to the video endpoint presentation. Then we are going through a few things on the portal itself. The meeting experience in here. So the meeting itself, first of all. So you've seen that I had a quick meeting like with myself yesterday evening. I had a few longer meetings in order to be able to show you something today, how it looks like when you would like to troubleshoot a meeting. So this is the portal, the WebEx portal control hub, as we call it as well. So I have the possibility to add users, to add devices. You've seen that. You have an overview of what's going on. And at the same time, we have this troubleshooting option here. So yesterday evening, I had a longer session with myself. It was quite boring. I added my wife's endpoint because I didn't add my wife, otherwise I can't say it would have been boring. So I can see here that this endpoint here had a little trouble with audio. So I can hover over it. It will tell me, okay, I have a certain amount of jitter and zero packet loss, but jitter and latency. I can see at the beginning the join time, so it was fairly quick that I could join the meeting. I have here the red triangle, which showing me the join time was a little bit longer, and I can see the device which has been used to join the meeting. So that's quite convenient information. The video quality was a little better on this endpoint. I have some struggle with my Wi-Fi here at home, so therefore the quality is not always as good. So you can see this endpoint was mainly green. You can also drill into a session a little bit closer. This is more like, so if somebody calls you up and says, okay, I had trouble with the quality, I didn't like the WebEx meeting experience, then you can go in the meeting itself. You can have a look at the audio quality. We were, all devices were muted now in my case, so there is not much information shown. You can see like the video quality here, the latency curves, packet loss, share quality, like the CPU usage of the device is also shown. So that's all very good and valuable information. You can see how a device is connected or has been connected. It's a Wi-Fi connection. That's the public IP, and so on. Also important is diagnostics. I go back to this one. The details, for example. So if you want to know if UDP or TCP was used to join a session, then you can see this as well. Or if somebody was using the VPN or was using directly the public internet, this is shown here as well. So that was the meeting itself. Then I have, let me see if this is already loaded. Let it be. Then I wanted to show you the devices. So the devices are shown here. So this is the DX70, which is standing over on the other desk. So you can see the device itself, and you can go and configure a few things on this device. Really nice is also this like alert me when this device goes offline or online, or if it has issues. So in WebEx Teams, it will send me a message when the device goes offline, or if there is some alert, some issue with the device. I can see this here. I can delete it if I want to. You see some interesting information like the zip URI here. And you can basically configure most of the settings from the cloud. So here it opens up the settings page. I can change the camera mode of the device and so on. So that's a nice option. On the other hand, you also have the option to like launch the web portal. So at the moment, there is no user configured on the device itself. So you can log in to the device via the cloud portal. So you need to be in the same network. So not everybody can just log in, because you need to reach the device now directly, and you can configure it from here now, meaning you can set speed dial buttons, you can configure loads of parameters, or you can also use call control if you would like to. So then you end up like on the device itself, if these other options are not enough. Analytics we looked at. So then I have something else I quickly wanted to show you. Well, if there is no other questions. This is the endpoints registered there. And in the analytics section, you'll see there is an option for devices, also meetings. For the meetings are very important to see the adoption, like how often the WebEx meetings is used and so on. But the devices is good for this case especially, so you can see how often are they using, or how many hours are they using the endpoints, how are they using the endpoints, what is the status of the endpoints, are they registered, are they having some difficulties with the microphone and so on. So these kind of things can be seen there. There we go. Okay, so here you see the usage also separate, like color coded, meaning like the with this bar diagram here. So the green one is showing like in call. So these many hours the devices have been in call. Local sharing wireless would be the bright one, and the other one is like digital signage. You also have the option to just set a web page for the user to see when the device is not used after a certain amount of time. You see how often the devices have been used and for what the devices have been used. You can, if you remove it from the cloud, have different channels, or we have different channels available, meaning we have the stable channel, which is a little slower, and we have the preview channel. So meaning that you can go ahead and test the software first on your device on your desk as an IT administrator, and then later on tell all the other devices to be upgraded in a second step. But even though it's cloud registered and it's like a cloud technology, we still allow some IT administrator friendly features and functionalities like this software management, so you're not surprised by like weekly updates or whatever that's coming along.